Text for this morning is from 1 John chapter 4. Beloved, let us love one another, because love is from God. Everyone who loves is born of God and knows God. Whoever does not love does not know God, for God is love. God's love was revealed among us in this way. God sent his only Son into the world so that we might live through him. And this is love. Not that we loved God, but that he loved us and sent his Son to be the atoning sacrifice for our sins. Beloved, since God loved us so much, we also ought to love one another. No one has ever seen God. If we love one another, God lives in us, and his love is perfected in us. By this we know that we abide in him and he in us, because he has given us of his Spirit. And we have seen and do testify that the Father has sent his Son as the Savior of the world. God abides in those who confess that Jesus is the Son of God, and they abide in God. So we have known and believed the love of God, the love that God has for us. God is love, and those who abide in love abide in God, and God abides in them. Love has been perfected among us in this, that we may have boldness on the day of judgment. Because as he is, so are we in this world. There is no fear in love. The perfect love casts out fear. For fear has to do with punishment, and whoever fears has not reached perfection in love. We love because he first loved us. Those who say, I love God, and hate their brothers and sisters are liars. For those who do not love a brother or sister whom they have seen cannot love God whom they have not seen. The commandment we have from him is this: those who love God must love their brothers and sisters also. Again, I wish all the dads who are present today a wonderful and blessed Father's Day, and also to all the families a wonderful day as well. Father's Day is an appropriate day to talk about love. As we listen to 1 John talk to us about love, he talks about it being something that we abide in, a place where we live. Something that is so central to our lives and our being that it becomes not just a focus, but the sole focus of our effort and our concerns and our sharing together as God's people. When we think about families, at least when families are working right, fathers are one of those persons within the family who sort of bring that center to the family as well. They become, along with moms, a stabilizing force in the family. They become a solid connection point for the people in the family, at least when things are working right. When we talk about dads, we talk about how we create a home. So I want to talk about home. The text talks about abiding. I want to talk about where we live as well. So I'm betting that when I ask you if you have a home, you're all going to raise your hand, right? Okay? Where's your home? Where's your home? I was born and raised in California. California is my home. But I also live in Lancaster, California, and Lancaster is my home. And I can add a street address to that and be even more specific about my home, that building that I often refer to as my home. My home church is across town, although I feel at home here because we share a common Lutheran heritage and we share our membership within the Evangelical Lutheran Church in America. So I feel at home here. I'm at home when I'm with my wife. I'm at home when I'm with my kids. I'm at home when I'm with my friends. When we talk about home, we begin to realize that it's a rather fluid concept. Home can be anywhere, can't it? It is something that moves with us. And so the question, where is your home, becomes an important one. If we're going to take home with us, what is it that we're going to take with us? And where is that center going to be for us as God's people? Where is home? The text uses the word abide, which has a little different connotation to it than what we often talk about as home. Because our usual use of the word home is really references to kind of temporary things. I'm from California, but I've lived in Arizona and Oklahoma and a number of other places, and those have been home as well. I do live on Pasture Drive, but I've lived in many other neighborhoods with specific street names as well. Abiding is different. Abiding has that sense of being something that stays with us no matter what. Abiding has sort of an internal sort of inference to it. That when we abide somewhere, when a place is, when we're centered somewhere, that center is always present. And John, as he writes his letter to the church community in which he was preaching, said, that place where you are meant to abide is in God's love. That's your home. And that's a home that is with us no matter where we are, where we go, what we're doing. God's love is our home. And I know I can say that relatively easily because we kind of have all these good associations with that term home, and abiding kind of makes it richer and even more comfortable in some way when we talk about God's love. But I want to say to you that what John is suggesting to us is much more difficult than what we might realize. I could even use the word treacherous. If we're really going to reflect on what it means when we say that we're supposed to abide in God's love, we're supposed to live in God's love, that's supposed to be our center each and every day, wherever we go, whoever we're with. Our home in God's love is meant to be present there. And that concept becomes a little more difficult for us. Home is with us everywhere. And if the people around us, in the moments where we are, in this moment when I'm here at home with you, if that's really a true concept, then we have to ask, who's included in home? Who's included in that group that we call family? Who is included in those that we name, as the text suggests we do, brothers and sisters? Who are we close to? Who do we love? Who do we share with? And it becomes tricky. I can walk in here pretty comfortably because I know there's at least some connections with you. We're all Lutheran. We all come from the same church body. I know your pastor. I know some of you. I can walk in here pretty comfortably. Once or twice a year, the pastor of the Baptist church right next to the church that is my home church asked me to preach. When I walk in there, I have the pastor that I know, and I have little tiny relationships with other people, but it's not my tradition. It does not feel like home, even though for that Sunday morning it has to be home for me. Those people sitting in front of me who are primarily not the same color we are have to be my family. The gospel message that I bring to them has to be one of God's love, even though my ability to make connections with them is much more difficult than it is when I walk in here. I have to think about, how do I talk to them about God's love? How do I make connections with people that I'm not familiar with? That are going to see the world differently than I see the world, that have different experiences than I have in the world. How do I, as a white male, connect with those black women who are sitting out in that Baptist congregation, because it is mostly black women. There are men there, but the biggest portion of that congregation is black women. How do I make a connection with them? How do I relate as a family member to people who have experienced things that I have never had to experience? Abiding in God's love, living in God's love with the family that God gives us in any particular moment is not an easy thing to do. It will challenge us. I saw a church sign this week on social media, on Facebook. There's a ELCA Facebook page, and you see all kinds of things there. This is where I saw it, on the ELCA Facebook page. And the sign said, the real test is, can you love and be kind to those who offend you? Can you love and be kind to those who offend you? Can you love and be kind to those, not even just differences, because even in the Baptist church, I know at least we share Christian faith together and we love God together, but what about those who offend me? What about those who say things that I'm uncomfortable with? What about those who hold different political views than I hold? What about those who simply say things that I think shouldn't be said, even? Can I love them and be kind to them as family? Because they are, whether I want them to be or not. See, we try to draw pretty tight circles around what we call home. For most of us, when we're talking about home, we only think about the people who are living in the house that we live in, that occupy that building. I've already tried to widen that circle for you. From the house we live in, to include the place we work, to include the city and community we dwell in, to include our neighbors in other parts of the church, to include those who are part of our state. And we can go to country, and we can go and we draw the circle like God draws the circle. We can go to people all over the world, because when God talks about God's love, God says He loves the world. Not just the people who are comfortable for me. Not just the people I like. Not just the people I know. That circle of love that God draws goes around the whole world. And there is no point at which He says, well, some of those people there, they're not really part of the family. God doesn't say that. For God so loved the world that He took that signature action on our behalf, that He gave His only Son for us. He didn't give it just for the people who identify as good. He gave it for everyone. He gave His Son, His child, for everyone. Those that I feel comfortable with, those that I want to be with, those that it makes me cringe to be with, those that have a whole different view on how the world should work, those who are so different from me that it's hard for me to bridge that gap. All of them are included. People of different races whom I don't completely understand. People of different faith traditions that I don't necessarily understand. People of different political persuasions with whom I want to argue and fight. All of them are included in that circle of God's love in which we are to abide. You and I need to know just how challenging that is for us. And to hear John, as he writes to his church, admonishing us to to make sure that we live in that big circle of God's love, not just in the narrow confines that we usually like to have our life operate in. So that we don't just kind of gravitate only towards those that are easy to be with, but we take every opportunity even to connect with those who aren't so easy to connect with. We take that opportunity to reach out, to touch others, to cross those boundaries, to make a connection with those that we have a hard time connecting with. Because God says you need to love them. You need to love them because they're your brothers and your sisters. They are children of God. They are part of God's family. They are the ones that God, in any particular moment, has put in front of you, and your task is to include them in your family, to connect with them and love them in whatever way you can. As daunting as all of that is, and it is, it really is, when you think about what I'm suggesting to you, what John is suggesting to you, as a way of living as a Christian, of being a part of God's family, of being brothers and sisters to others, when you think about it, as daunting as that is, there's incredibly good news in that call to reach out and touch other people's lives. And that good news is that if it is true that God loved the world so much that he gave his only Son for it, that circle of God's love includes me. I'm not excluded. I don't have to worry about being excluded. I don't have to worry about being left out. I don't have to worry that God doesn't love me. I don't have to worry that God didn't create other people out in the world who will love me as well. I'm included in that circle and I cannot be expelled. How many of you have ever been afraid of being expelled from God's kingdom? How many? I did. I did for a long time. Even when I was studying to be a pastor, I often would say to myself, I don't know whether this gospel can include me, but I know I need to tell other people about it. Until one day it dawned on me, if I'm going to tell other people about it, I have to believe it includes me too. And you have to believe it includes you. And it includes the people sitting next to you and the people that you see at work and the people that go everywhere. You cannot be expelled from God's kingdom. You cannot be put outside of God's love. God's love is for the whole world. And God's love is for you. As imperfect as we are, to make a commitment in response to John's message, to do our very best to actually abide in that